All right, everybody, welcome back to the Beans No Ball podcast. Welcome to the week 15 Sunday morning chat. And obviously my voice not the best right now. I'm a little sick, but we'll push through regardless. Let's just get it started.
Yeah, I mean, it's cold weather, closing on Christmas, but we still got to pull through. So, obviously, coming with another Sunday episode, so you already know how it starts. So, we're going to go over some little NFL news before we get into the mini segment. So, start things off. Start things off with the injury news. Russell Wilson passed concussion protocol, but will not play today. According to the coaches, he will sit out today.
Yeah, so this gives us I guess you could just call it a boring matchup in this Cardinals Broncos game between Brett Rippon and Colt McCoy. See how it goes. That might take a hit on our position that we both agreed on the Broncos winning, but we'll see if not having rest can help the Broncos in a way. Apart from that, this was kind of already well known, but Lamar Jackson will stay out. He was reevaluated, won't be able to play today. And also Kenyon Drake, the running back of the Ravens, he's also suffering through some injury trouble, so he won't be able to play today either. And I guess, go ahead.
And a non-related injury notice. I will go back to the OBJ situation. Derrick Jones did stay on Thursday morning. That OBJ will be joining the Cowboys, closing in on a deal. It's just a matter of time. I honestly, we got T.Y. Hilton. I wouldn't be mad if we get OBJ for playoffs. Build up that chemistry, two veteran receivers, but it's asking for way too much money. So Jerry's got to work his magic.
Yeah, I mean, even though it still looks like he won't be signing until 2023, there could be something done in the last minute. And just one last thing I can mention, of course, for my Rams, yet again, Aaron Donald will be missing another game. He was ruled out with that injury, so I believe it's like the third or fourth game he's been missing. So I mean, you know how tough he is. It's pretty rough injury to keep him out this long. Hopefully he gets back to get some playing time soon. But if not, I would not mind him just taking the rest of the year off. Just rest up, keep himself good for next season.
And yeah, that's pretty much most of the news that went on right now. It wasn't really any big so get this segment was pretty light. So obviously moving right along, we have our Cash and Trash segment. But obviously before we get into it, let's go over our record for Cash and Trash from last week.
And of course, last week we went over the defenses, and I guess it was pretty average week for Cash and Trash for us. I guess on the cash side, Christian, you fared a lot better as I went with the Seahawks defense against the Panthers, and obviously that wasn't a really good call. Seahawks defense only got 1 point, and you taking the Niners, they got 9 points. So pretty easy for you to take that one there. And as for defense, as for trash, we both, the Broncos and the Texans both got 4 points. In the end, Christian, you get this one because the Broncos gave up gave up more points. So the Broncos gave up 28, Texans only gave up 27. So they were the worst defense in the end. Now, yes, Christian, you can go ahead and tell us who we're doing this week.
Yeah, so obviously we're going to skip out on kickers because once again, we're not really going to do kickers for the Cash or Trash. So we're going to move right back along to the quarterbacks. So for my cash quarterback of the week, I'm going with Dak Prescott again. Okay, I feel like this is going to be the game where, bounce back from that ugly Texans game. We really downgraded the Texans so much, freaking stopped playing well, and we almost lost them. With this Jaguars team, they're more of a sleeper team now. They seem to kind of be getting going. Trevor's starting to look very great again. That defense is sort of stepping up now. The receivers are getting better chemistry with Trevor. So obviously, this is a team that we should not overlook. And I feel like Dak Prescott will bounce back from that Texas game and have an outstanding game this week. As for my trash, I will go Brett Rippon for the Broncos. it would be a very boring game, but with the Broncos struggling, so are the Cardinals. I feel like the Cardinals got a slight upper hand on this one, so I got Bray Witham trash.
So as for me, for my cash quarterback, I'm gonna go with Joe Burrow in this game against the Bucks. The Bucks defense hasn't been looking that good, so I would expect him to go off. Probably help the Bengals start taking an upper hand in the AFC North now with the Ravens losing last night. And for trash, I'm gonna go with Davis Mills. Easy pick against the Chiefs, but I'll just take it for hopefully leaves one in the win column for me. And of course, wrapping that up, that just leaves our fantasy segment before we get into our quick ending, which as for me, fantasy, I unfortunately did not make the playoff bracket in our league with even with a win, a pretty big win. I think we had like 5 dudes in the league had an 8-6 record. So it came down to so many tiebreakers, and in the end, I didn't make it. So I don't think I changed anything really from my lineup. I mean, I'm just in the consolation bracket, which that's cool. But I'll still give my takes for what I think my team will go this week. Deshaun Watson already had 12.64 points. It was an ugly game last night, but it was still a bronze win, which we had both predicted. So, good on him. Not the best fantasy-wise, but still, that's fine. And then my running back duo, they did me right all season. See if I can at least get a consolation win out of them. It'll be Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. And you're going against the Chargers. Wouldn't expect the biggest game out of him since the Chargers defense has actually been on the rise. But if he can go off, that'd be nice too. And for Saquon, they're playing the Commanders. I'm expecting the Commanders to have a better game, but I still would expect him to go for 100+ yards and maybe a touchdown. So he'll have enough to give me some points. For my receivers, Tyreek Hill already got me 22 points, 21.9, basically 22. He 9 receptions and a touchdown against the Bills, so pretty good for him. Expecting Mike Williams to do pretty good after we know Justin Herbert has been having somewhat of a resurgence the past couple weeks. So I'd expect at least 15 to 20 from him tonight against the Titans. My tight end Freiermuth, they're playing the Carolina Panthers, so I would expect him to have a decent game. I believe I took the Steelers in this one, so I hope he gives me enough points. My flex Singletary, he got me 10 points in that win against the Dolphins, so I'll take that from here at a flex. Vikings defense, after real surprising game, gave up 30+ in the first half. They didn't give me the most, but 4 points, and they got a pretty epic win out of it, so good for them. And of course, my kicker, rounding it all out, Daniel Carlson. He's the best kicker all year, and I would expect him to, give me a good decent kicks.
It's obviously you're just short on playoffs, so that sucks. But as for me, I just made it in with 8-6. I won my last game. It was a great, thank God. Hopefully, 8-6 taking on none of that, but let's just see. So, obviously, starting off the bat with my quarterback, my guy, Dak Prescott. I really expect like I said earlier, I really expect a good bounce back game from him after that Texans game. So, hopefully, he can get me at least 15, 20 points. But he should be good. He should be great as long as that defense can stick up. For my running backs, I have Ezekiel Elliott and Donta Foreman. They've been doing me great so far. Zeke's been getting multiple touchdowns lately each week. He's been going for a couple yards, looking like old rookie Zeke again. Donta Foreman, I picked him up a couple weeks ago. He's been doing me great. So at least 10 points for him, especially I think the first time I picked him, he got me like 30. But hopefully he gets me like at least a decent amount of points today. And obviously for my 1-2 punch, AJ Brown and Justin Jefferson. Jefferson already played, he only had me 4 so far after being down 33, and then I think he got me like 28, 30-something points. So great bounce back from him. Ripped that. I'm up against the playoffs right now, so thank God for him. What's up to the receivers? Oh, my tight end. I'm Mike Gesicki. He already played. He didn't really do much. Only got me like 4 points or something.
Oh, you
So
1.5.
1.5. Damn, thank God. I mean, not thank God. I thought it was like 4 points. Jesus. But yeah, 1 point. So really sold me on that. For my flex, I have George Pickens. I started using George Pickens on here since Hunter Renfrow was on IR, and so was Aaron Jones. He wasn't playing very well lately, so I had him on there for flex. And then for my defense, I also have the Cowboys defense. Once again, it's going to be a great Jags team we're going to go up against that's been getting the rhythm. So hopefully the defense can play a big part to hold them to at least a very least amount of points as possible. And then for my kicker, I do not have Will Lutz, unfortunately, starting. I have Jake Elliott starting today. And that's the team for the playoffs. So let's see how far I can go.
Great team for you, obviously. Hopefully you can take down the 1 seed, I believe you were going with. So hope you go well. And just moving on to our final segment real quick, we'll hit our last minute takes. Obviously my Rams don't play until tomorrow. It'll be a nice Monday nighter at Lambeau Field against the Packers. Which, even without Aaron Donald, without the pieces, I'm expecting the rhythm that Baker had kind of looked to be going on. I expect a good game for him, especially, he played so good just being there for 2 days. Now he's been there almost 2 weeks. I really expect him to just, hit his stride with this playbook. He's actually got a relationship with all of his teammates now, so, forming some chemistry, especially with Sean McVay. So I'm not expecting a big win by any means, because, we know how this Rams team looks, but I would honestly expect, a close 20-17, one of those low scoring, but not too low scoring. But, as long as the defense holds, which that's kind of been the issue at times, but if our defense can hold, I do expect a nice tight win for the Rams.
Yeah, so obviously your Rams been struggling lately, so better off to finish strong than not. So as another hand for my Cowboys, 10-3, looking great. Start of the season wasn't gonna look great after Dak, and Cooper Rush did led us to a great 4-2 record. And obviously when Dak's back, he only lost 1 game, which was that Packers game. I'm still irritated about that game, but today's game, he just has to dial it down on the interceptions. He has to dial it down, and I'm gonna keep saying this until he finally dials it down. If we want to win playoff games and get past the first round, he cannot be throwing these picks. He's got to look for open receivers. I've been watching tape lately of him, and he has been missing some opportunities for some open receivers. But it happens. But he's been doing it recently, and I really need him to get somewhat of his groove back, start hitting those shots. Because that Texans game was ugly. CeeDee Lamb was non-existent. Wasn't using him at all for some reason. That defense got to get pressure on the front. That front seven's got to get pressure on Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, our run game is our kryptonite. And obviously, losing Jonathan Hankins for the season, he was our best run stopper that we acquired this offseason a couple weeks ago, and he's been doing us very well. But he is out, and so is Dorrance Armstrong, who has been our dark horse player this season. But our secondary is very beat up. Jordan Lewis and Anthony Brown are out for the season. It's DaRon Bland and Kelvin Joseph getting the start alongside Trayvon Diggs. So I really expect those two to get something going. DaRon Bland's been doing pretty well. Kelvin Joseph, I'm still having mixed feelings about him. I love Kelvin Joseph since we drafted him, but he hasn't really been doing much for us. But hopefully he can find something to get us done. Our safeties are fine. We just need to put a lot of pressure on Trevor Lawrence. Do not look over this team. Put lots of pressure on. Obviously, don't go easy on him. That's all I can say. Dak Prescott, no interceptions.
Yeah, obviously, that's his theme. Unfortunately, last week it seemed that you guys overlooked the Texans, and just hope that they don't end up doing this thing here, because we both say, any given Sunday in this league, especially this season. So with all that being said, that is basically going to wrap us up. Get this out real quick, and obviously, as always, we really appreciate everyone waking up with us. Especially, today, pretty big day in sports. Obviously, the World Cup final on right now. Got a lot of wonderful football, a lot of playoff implications to look out for. So again, just thank you all for joining us. Anyone that does, and Christian, anything for you to take us out?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. We'd just like to thank everyone for sticking around with us, watching our content. The year's about to wrap up, so hopefully we can get some good things going for next year. And with that being said, we'll see you guys later this week for week 16.